Let's talk timing, because we are talking about so many states today. Let me know, where are you watching from? We want to really tailor this to your area specifically. So where are you guys watching from today? We're going to go through this future radar state by state here in just a minute, but I want to give you an overview first so you can kind of see what is all happening, right? We've got that one area with the tornado and wind risk up in Iowa and Illinois. We've got another area with a flood and wind risk down in Colorado, and then we've got another area down in Texas. And that's really the three main areas that we're watching for today. I know we still have storms up in Minnesota. We didn't really talk about that, but if we need to, we can pivot and talk about that. Alrighty, let's restart our timeline and let's go through your future radar here. So here's what we're watching for. We've already got storms in northern Iowa right now, and we've already seen a severe thunderstorm warning from one of these storms, okay? We are going to see coverage increase as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Starting out clustered at first, but then congealing into a long line of storms here as we head into the evening hours. So this long line of storms goes from south of Des Moines all the way up to the southern side of Wisconsin. Now, as we continue to see this progress into the late night hours, we're going to start to lose a lot of the oomph here, okay? We're going to start to lose a lot of the strength. Storms will weaken into the overnight hours as the sun goes down. We have a tornado risk right in this area just before those storms weaken into the central portion of Illinois. That tornado risk is still possible, but it's going down as it tracks farther to the south and east. Again, the flooding risk is still possible, and again, a flooding risk at night is very dangerous. So we want to make sure that we are pointing that out to you, that flooding risk is still possible into the early morning hours tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. Now, this is something that we've seen in Chicago already this week. We saw about 5.5 inches of rainfall within about 90 minutes, so a very short time period. And there were flooding issues on the highways here, you know, on the underpasses, just under the bridges, okay? So it's possible, it could still happen. Alrighty, moving over to Nebraska, we've got Wyoming and Colorado, Kansas right here. Most of these storms are going to be north of I-70 and to the east of I-25. So we are watching for storms to form in clustered, isolated to clustered is what I'd call this here. Later on, closer to dinner time, into the evening hours. So this is a little bit later from what we saw out in Iowa. We'll continue to see those storms as we head into the late night hours, but I do think a lot of the severity is going to go down as we head into the overnight. So you get into the early morning hours on Saturday, I think that we will be just about severe clear. So I would really take a look at these storms between about 5 and 11 o'clock tonight. Now moving down to Texas, the panhandle of Texas, looking pretty promising for some wind tonight. Now, it's a very, very low tornado threat, but we could see some wind and hail in this area as well as a flooding risk. So you can see that these storms are going to be later on in the evening, okay? So this is a later timeline. This is the only area that I'm worried about. If you go to bed tonight, you may be waking up to a severe thunderstorm warning or two. I think that the warnings in this area are going to be pretty isolated. So the severe threat will really be focused on that wind and that flooding threat anywhere from Amarillo to Lubbock, Texas. And this does go into the early morning hours of Saturday morning. So there you go. There is your forecast for Friday. We covered a lot of areas. We covered that tornado risk out in Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri. We covered the wind and flooding risk in Colorado, which does include Denver, or just to the east of Denver. I told you just to the east of I-25 there. And we also covered that wind and flooding risk down in Amarillo, Texas. You want to go into Saturday? You want to talk about your weekend now? Let's talk about Saturday. We have storms anywhere from Texas all the way up to Michigan. We do have a slight risk in Michigan for tomorrow. We also have a flooding risk in these areas, and we'll talk about the flooding risk a little bit more in just a few minutes. Now, the severe outlook for Sunday, marginal risk right now, but I do expect that to increase to a slight risk. Marginal risk anywhere from our New England states all the way down into the plains, the southern plains for the most part here. But excuse me, a little hiccup there. We could also see storms into the Missouri Valley.